What's up everybody, got my second in a series of top 10 games, or Taps Awards as I probably have named them on the playlist. I think I have done by now. Anyway, got my top 10 games of 2011 now, including a couple of miscellaneous awards that I've just given kind of as an extra. Okay, let's start at number 10, which is Killzone 3. So this came out very early in the year. Not a major improvement on Killzone 2, I've got to say, but the added move support as well as greatly improved in terms of pacing. It feels a lot faster, and the online multiplayer is really good despite the community being quite sparse, i.e. very few people play it nowadays, but they should do because it's a very good game online. Alright, at number 9 we have LA Noire. This is a new series made by Rockstar. I would say it's in the mould of GTA, but it's a lot more slower paced than GTA. You're basically solving crimes. It's got a really good storyline to it. I won't spoil any of the finer details, but you're a cop rising through the ranks. The facial animation to tell whether people are lying is absolutely astounding, and it really does work well. For a new IP, I was very impressed with it, and I basically played it from start to finish without stopping, so it was really an addictive title for me. Okay, at number 8 we have Battlefield 3. If it wasn't for such a lackluster single player, this would have scored a lot higher for me. This basically gets on my list on multiplayer merit alone. So it had a great multiplayer mode, had great co-op, the single player was absolute garbage, but I guess that's kind of what you expect from Battlefield now. The graphics were very good for a console game. There were some issues at launch with getting in a game, but other than that, a very good title, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay, at number 7 we have Dead Island. I only just got this for Christmas, and I have to say it surpassed my expectations tenfold because I didn't expect very much, but it's in the mould of Borderlands, and I found it to be a really, really great title. It has good pacing, the co-op mode is excellent, it's a bit rough around the edges with its graphics and its glitches, which are not frequent but detract from the gameplay a bit. It's one of those where I think if they can perfect a lot of the things in the sequel, then it would be a near perfect game. But at its current form, it's just a very, very good game. Okay, at number 6 we have Gears of War 3. So the third title in the Gears series. It doesn't bring much new other than 4-player co-op and a beast mode. I say that, but it's still quite a sizable addition when you consider that most games don't bring anything new to the table. The graphics are nothing short of incredible. The gameplay is what we've come to know and love. Probably the best third-person shooter on the market today in terms of gunplay. It is pretty much unsurpassed for me. The storyline was good. The multiplayer was decent, but not as good as its predecessor, I think. So that's why it's relatively low on my list. And at number 5 we have Deus Ex Human Revolution. I was actually new to this series. Well, I'd briefly played Invisible War, but I kind of knew what to expect from Deus Ex. I just knew it was a shooter that had a lot of options, and basically that's what has been delivered with this game. You can tackle missions any way you want, and it's not just EDOS. Saying that, you really can go for the stealthy approach or all guns blazing if you wish. It's got a great amount of replayability with that said, and it's quite a lengthy adventure. It's got a great upgrading system with the whole augmentation, the whole biotech upgrade where you can put attachments on your body. Really works quite well. All in all, it was a title that released at the right time in about August, I believe, and got a hell of a lot of sales because of it, including myself, and it let everyone appreciate just how good a game it is because it didn't have much competition at the time. It blew me away, to be honest. I really, really thought it was an amazing game. Okay, at number 4 we've got Saints Row the Third. I'm a huge Saints Row fan, so it's not surprising that this one's high up on my list. Basically, Saints Row 2 was just an awesome open world action game, and Saints Row 3 has just gone all out to improve on it. It just brings so much wacky new stuff to the table, but it still improves on the key elements that Saints Row 2 was lacking on, and everything about it just got improved. It's one of the few games where them taking out competitive multiplayer probably made things a lot better, and it gives me incredibly high hopes for Saints Row 4 because Saints Row 3 was absolutely superb. Really, I loved it from start to finish. Hitting someone with a giant dildo sword and flying around in a jet plane doing airstrikes and just stuff that you wish you could do in other games but only Volition have the balls to put it in theirs. So that's why it's got as high on my list, because it does so much that you can't do in any other game. And the bronze medal goes to Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. I was very impressed with this title. The graphics are absolutely unbelievable, probably the best this generation on a console. The facial detail, the textures, the lighting effects are all absolutely unbelievable. To see them in 1080p in person melts your eyes. The only game that comes close for me is Gears 3. But even graphics aside, it's got the gameplay to back it up. It's got a superb co-op mode. Competitive multiplayer is surprisingly addictive. The story is good, and the gameplay doesn't really evolve enough from Uncharted 2 for me, and that's why it's got third place instead of second or first. But it's still an absolutely incredible game that everyone should pick up if you have a PS3. And if you don't, you should seriously consider getting a PS3 for the Uncharted series, because they are absolutely amazing. And at number 2, we have The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I'm a big nostalgia addict, so Zelda has a place close to my heart. I absolutely adore the Zelda games, and as far as I'm concerned, Ocarina of Time is the best game ever, and this game comes so incredibly close to reaching that level. The motion controls are amazingly well done and work incredibly with Motion Plus. It's one of the few games where you feel like motion controls actually add to the game instead of just feel like they're tacked on. The graphics are really good for a Wii game. The gameplay is, I wouldn't say a standard Zelda fare, but it feels familiar while adding a lot of new things. That's the best way I can put it. But the new Zelda for me was awesome. And to put it in second place doesn't really do it justice, but it kind of speaks volumes for the next game that is number 1. Because to knock Zelda into second place has got to take some doing, and number 1 is The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. I imagine a lot of you knew this was coming. I imagine it's at the top of the list of many of the people's Game of the Year. This game has just raised the bar for what you expect from open world games for me. I mean, the last game in the series, Oblivion, was amazing, and this has just improved on every aspect. The quests are really fun, the graphics are great, the combat has been improved immensely. It feels epic, it looks epic, it sounds epic, the soundtrack is amazing. You always feel like you've got stuff to do. There is hundreds of hours worth of gameplay. The value for money is incredible. I can't give enough superlatives for how good this game really is. And after watching the initial trailer a year or so ago, I didn't know whether they could live up to the hype or not. I really didn't think they could, actually. But Bethesda proved me wrong, and it is just the game that everyone wanted it to be. And it proves that if you do listen to the fans, that you can really make something special, and that's what this game is, special. So that is why it is number 1. It is thoroughly deserved, and it could have only been that game for me. And we've got a couple of miscellaneous awards that I wanted to kind of give. Best competitive multiplayer, I'd definitely give to Battlefield 3. I feel that the Battlefield formula works incredibly well with different classes, etc, etc. I couldn't justify giving it to Modern Warfare 3 because it just doesn't change enough from the last games to warrant it. Whereas I feel Battlefield 3 has done enough in terms of additions. Also, best cooperative multiplayer. This was more of a difficult decision, but I ended up giving it to Saints Row 3. It was a toss-up between that and Dead Island, but Saints gets it in the end just because it's one of those few games where you just find yourself laughing the whole time, just because doing wacky insane stuff on your own is just incredibly fun, but when you've got a mate to do it with, that just epitomises why gaming is such an amazing medium of entertainment. The fact that you can do all the missions, all the activities, every single thing in co-op together, nothing's taken away. That's why it's the best co-op game of this year for me. I'd also like to point out a couple of what people may see as glaring omissions, but they're games that probably would have been in this list if I had got them, but I just simply have not got the game, so I couldn't put them in. Batman Arkham City. I enjoyed the first one, regardless of how much they improved it. I don't think it would have got higher than probably 5th place, because as much as I liked Arkham Asylum, it wasn't as amazing as people made out for me. Also, Dark Souls. My friends rave about this game, and they rate it very highly, but I've just not got around to getting it. But I'm sure that given some time with the game that I would appreciate it, and I probably would have put it in this list somewhere. So tell me what you guys think. What are your top games of 2011? I'm sure that people will disagree with my top 10 or the order at the very least, so I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.